Hello, my name is Tom Wells. I'm your instructor for History 1301 or History 1302 as the case may be. I'm going to do a single course introduction video to work for both. So there's not that much difference in procedure. So let's get started. As I say, my name is Tom Wells. I'm recently retired. I retired at the end of the spring semester. I'm continuing as a part-timer. So I no longer have an office or a school phone number. I wasn't there last year either. I was all online. But to reach me, just email me at owells@wc.edu. Now, first thing you need to know is that at the Canvas site, and you'd have to be at the Canvas site in the week of August 23rd module to have found this. But there's an all-important document that you need to be able to refer to anytime, preferably print it out if you can. I call it a general course information handout. There's one for 1301, there's one for 1302, and they differ only in the details. But it'll give you things like my email address and so forth. Plus just the basic information and procedures of how this course is going to work. It would be better if you were looking at that as we went along. Okay? I'm not going to go over all of it because we don't have time. This is just going to be the most important stuff. Okay, first thing to know is that this is going to be an old-fashioned information class. You're not going to be solving riddles. You're not going to be working problems. You're not going to be dissecting cats. You're just going to be learning a lot of stuff, hopefully in a systematic way. So it's a lecture class, okay? You're going to be proceeding along two parallel tracks of learning. By the way, it's a lecture class. It's also reading intensive. So if that's going to be a problem for you, then you need to just get it up and climb this fence, or it may not turn out well. Okay, two parallel tracks of learning. One will be the textbook, and the other will be me. So let's talk about the regular textbook, which is James West Davidson and a number of other historians, U.S. A Narrative History, Volume 1, 9th edition. We've been using this book under actually more than one title for over 20 years now, with some interruptions. It's very well written, it's concise, it's easy to read, it's engaging, it's well illustrated. The chapters are not excessively long. It's appropriate for what we do. If you can't read this thing efficiently, then college probably isn't for you. 9th edition. In 1301, I've made a careful comparison. The differences are slight. So all you can come up with an 8th edition. 7th might be a bit of a stretch, but you'll about be there with those. The chapter study questions, the pages, the page number references, and some of the headings and stuff have been changed. Other than that, it's really not very much. So that's your regular textbook. What you'll be doing with the textbook is preparing for chapter quizzes. In 1301, there will be 17 of them, which I'll tell you more about later. Chapters 1 through 17. 1302 will be chapters 18 through 32. If the publishers made this available in single volume paperbacks for 1 and 2, and 1301, chapter 17 is going to be in both of them. Okay, and if you're in 1302, we start with chapter 18, even though the book starts with 17. Okay, the other is going to be U.S. History 1 or 2 supplements. Published by Kendall Hunt up in Dubuque, Iowa. This was written by me. I didn't sit down to write a book. It's just that over the years, when I first came full-time in the early 1990s, I adopted the practice of occasionally just writing up lecture notes to fill in if I missed a day or get things pulled together. Some of them for my own personal purposes. But over the years, I found that both my courses were blanketed with supplements, which for students I refer to as the lecture notes on steroids. Very much so. And I would hand them out and I would run them off and hand them out to students. And then about 7 or 8 years ago, it was brought to my attention that I had exhausted the entire departmental annual copying budget in one semester, all by myself. Mr. Wells, we can't do this anymore. Hence, the specialty publisher in Dubuque, Iowa, which does them up. If you get a paper copy, it's going to be spiral bound. I recommend, I think this is even cheaper than the used paper version, the ebook format. The general course information document that I mentioned has a link to the publisher, and it's very reasonable compared to most textbooks. I do not get royalties from it. That's a college rule with which I do not disagree. Any royalties that might have been due to me are automatically deposited in the Weatherford College Foundation, specifically the Brad Tibbetts Memorial Scholarship Fund. So that's where that goes. I recommend the ebook. If you get a paper copy, there are some bloopers that the ebook corrected, and the bonus worksheets. There's some errors that have been corrected in them. So ebook is better. You can print out 2 pages at a time from that. I've got to back up a little bit and tell you that an ebook is also available. That's a book you can look at online, okay, with an access code. The main textbook, they had an expensive paper version, and they had an almost expensive electronic version, which had a great deal of stuff to go along with it, study materials of all kinds. I wasn't using that, although for serious students, it's called Connect, okay? They have that for all their textbooks. For people really serious about making high grades and have the time, that's very useful to them, but I do not require it. Very recently, they've made just a straight-up ebook without all the frills available, and I will attempt to get the URL to where you can go to buy the online textbook before it's available. So, textbook reading assignments, partly meant to prepare you for class participation, although there's not really a class to participate in. You're going to be watching videos. But the regular textbook is the basis of chapter quizzes, and those are already scheduled. In the course introduction module above where you're looking at now, there's a schedule of assignments which tells you what's due each week as the semester goes by. Okay? The chapter quizzes, by the way, are not necessarily scheduled to go along point for point with the lecture material. The lecture stuff comes from the supplements. The exams, including the final, the exams are based on the supplements. The chapter quizzes are based on the regular textbook. And once you've taken a chapter quiz, that's over, that's under the bridge. You will not need the chapter quiz material specifically to study for major exams. All right, let's see what time it is here. All right, we're looking good. All right, all the lectures and all testing will be online. Okay, so for participation in the class, you're going to need a computer with the fastest internet you can get, and you're going to have a webcam, because all the quizzes and exams are proctored using something called HonorLock. That does not mean that I can sit there on my computer and watch you take the test while you're taking it, but I can watch you take the test later. And HonorLock will clue me in if it sees things, if the software sees things that look suspicious. So don't even think about it. I'll be watching. All right, if you don't have that sort of thing, that kind of technology, the technology services at 817-598-6364, I believe, now this was a big deal last fall, you can check out a minimal laptop that'll do the job for you. Or I think they had some aftermarket webcams that you could attach to your laptop. So this should not be a problem. What you need to do is contact me, and I will file what the technical services calls a ticket, which will authorize them to check out whatever it is to you. Now, as I always say, I like to get the boring stuff out of the way first. So sit back and prepare for the boring stuff. Take another deep drink of coffee, and here we go. some things I'll basically read to you. First of all, disability accommodations. If you have I'm supposed to read it, any student with a documented disability condition, such as learning, psychiatric, vision, hearing, etc., that's covered by the Americans with Disabilities Act, may contact the Office of Disabilities to request a reasonable accommodation. An accommodation is an arrangement made between the student and the teacher to level the playing field and compensate for the disability. And in an online class like this, that comes down to extra time on quizzes and exams. If you have a disability accommodation, I can go in and extend your time limit for taking a chapter quiz from 10 minutes to 15. Those are set. So that's how that works. The other things had much more to do. Other possible accommodations had to do with face-to-face classes. Okay, if you're on campus, which you're probably not, the Office of Disabilities is on the second floor of the Student Services Building, down below the Health Science Building there. And it's going to be, if they haven't changed it, Office 115B on the upper floor. Their phone number is in the General Course Information handout, but I'll tell you now, 817-598-6350. They set what they call a priority deadline to request a disability accommodation. It is a soft deadline. You can always apply for one later on, but the more time goes by, the more water's under the bridge, so to speak. We cannot go back and accommodate you retroactively. So sooner is probably better. Their priority deadline is, weirdly enough, I think it's programmed in, it's Labor Day, Monday, September 6, 2021. That's recommended time. That you really need to do that by then. Okay. Years ago, the lady who's in charge of that's named Dawn Calden, and she had handled this kind of thing at a high school, and now she's at a college. And she was telling us kind of like, well, yeah, listen to this, that it's very different. If you were in high school last year, had disability accommodations, apparently it works in a very different way at the college level. So I'd say don't take anything for granted. I don't mind giving you the accommodations. Okay, next thing, hope statement. Any student, I'm reading to you, any student who faces challenges securing their food or housing and believes this may affect their performance in the course is urged to contact the Office of Student Development and Wellness for support. That's at 817-77, no. I'm not sure where it's located. You can also, if it's after hours and you're hungry and you don't know where you're going to get a meal, you can contact the campus police, protect and serve, right? They're at 817-771-3535. If you have a problem, you can notify me via email. And what I can do is refer you to people that can help. You only do that if you're comfortable doing it. You don't have to come through me, of course, if you're not. Okay, so the college can provide any resources that they may possess. Next thing, let me see what time it is, lest I run over. Academic integrity. Academic integrity, that's don't cheat, is fundamental to the educational mission of Weatherford College, and the college expects its students to maintain high standards of personal and scholarly conduct. Academic dishonesty of any kind will not be tolerated. Academic dishonesty includes, but is not limited to, a lawyer wrote that, cheating on an exam or other academic work, plagiarism, that's taking someone else's writing and claiming it as your own, collusion, and the abuse of research materials. When I was in college, one proven instance of plagiarism, and you're cleaning out your dorm room because it's over. They're kicking you out of school. Anymore, it would be like somebody's going to ball you out and you get a 0 on the assignment where you cheated. And that 0 shall have been writ with the finger of God and cannot be changed. Got it? Okay, this has been course introduction video part 1. I'm going to cap it off, come back immediately with part 2.